Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and we have another Collecta figure to take a look at, another 2020 Collecta figure to take a look at today. This is their Deluxe Protoceratops, and it is my most highly anticipated figure, I think, for the entire year of 2020, although the Lissawisia was really up there as far as figures I was anticipating, but this Protoceratops is one of my favorite ceratopsians straight away, very high up on the top of the list of my favorite ceratopsians. So knowing that Collecta was not only making a Protoceratops, but making a Deluxe Protoceratops, I was over the moon excited for it. And now having it here in person, it is just absolutely beautiful. Definitely one of the best Protoceratops figures that I have in my collection, without question at all. And I feel like Protoceratops continuously gets overlooked. I don't know if because it's a smaller species of ceratopsian or what, but like modern times currently, we don't really get very many. Actually, I think when I was a kid, we got more Protoceratops toys than we do currently from these companies that specialize in making dinosaur models. So again, Collecta making one had me extremely excited, and now actually looking at it here in person, it is just the absolute most beautiful looking thing I think I've ever seen. Just a really wonderful looking Protoceratops in every possible way from Collecta. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, look at the incredible detailing all over the head sculpt of this Protoceratops. Such beautiful scale work all over the place. You can see again so many different varying sizes, like really fine scales here the closer you get to the beak. But then as you get closer to like the cheek area, you can see that the lower jaw starts to get larger scales, but then it actually turns back into a little bit of a finer scaling once we do reach the cheek area, then a little bit of a larger scaling, then some extremely fine scales there around the eye. And look at that eye socket. That is so beautifully sculpted. The eye is absolutely glossed to perfection and looks 100% real and alive. Really impressive stuff as far as the eyes go. Collecta has continuously impressed me as far as the kind of making a black eye just gloss and look so incredibly real throughout this entire year of figures. And again, it looks perfect on this Protoceratops. And I love that they've given it a little color variation around the eye, like darkened it a little just to kind of elaborate that area of the eye. You can see the nostril up here, very nicely sculpted out, as well as the ear back here. And you can also see that the jaw is articulated and it can open actually quite wide. The beak is really beautifully sculpted. You do have some nice detail within, and they've actually kind of given it like a dry brushing of like a brown over top of the beak just to give it some very nice color variation and kind of make that beak pop out at you a little bit more. Inside the mouth, you can see the teeth of the Protoceratops are actually sculpted out and painted in there, and they look really nice. Very beautifully done. The tongue as well is sculpted out in there, although I'm kind of surprised that there's not really any skin texture to the tongue. Like the tongue itself is very smooth, it's not too textured, but it still looks quite nice, and that's not something that I'm really going to complain about. The inside of the mouth on the upper side also looks quite beautiful. Again, you can see how nicely done those teeth are on the upper side of the jaw. You do have this little kind of spike here on the side, and it looks nice. It's painted with a nice dark brown, which is kind of the theme of the figure. It's like a lighter brown, like a tannish brown with some hints of like an orangish brown, and then a lot of darker browns included with like the design with like up here on the frill actually specifically almost looks like sunglasses with eyes peeking out at us, or even just regular glasses. But you can see it has like a really cool design that kind of borders around the frill with that dark brown, and it appears to be the same dark brown that we see right there, as well as these kind of like scoots that run down the head sculpt of the Protoceratops is also highlighted with that darker brown. But you can also see like that variation of like orangish brown in certain areas showing up as well, with this like tannish type of a brown color, and a few speckles here and there in the face as well with that darker brown. Looks really cool as far as the paintwork goes. I definitely do like the paint scheme of the Protoceratops overall. The scales up here on the frill as well look extremely nicely done, and I love that they get really fine here on the centers of each side of the frill. Really nice looking. Once you get back here, you can't see too much detailing in the neck because the Protoceratops kind of has its head up, looking up sort of, but you can see it enough, I think, right there. So it does look really nice. It's just you can't see it too well. You can see the skin bunching up a little bit right there with the positioning of the frill kind of leaning back, the head leaning back a little bit. You can see some skin folding going on. You can also see some very nice detailing there on the back of the frill as far as the scales go as well. Once we move back here into the body, though, you can see some really nice skin texture, as well as some osteoderms picking up here and there on the dinosaur. Beautiful kind of skin folding there with the positioning of this front leg. As we move down the leg, you have some nice creasing in the joint there of the elbow, and then a beautiful foot sculpt here with some nicely painted nails. It darkens to a dark brown, again, kind of like the theme of the figure, but you also see like this tannish brown and then like some orangish browns here and there highlighting certain areas. Coming up here, you can again see how nicely done that skin texture is all over the Protoceratops. Some more creasing right there in the skin. Nice muscle tone in the calf, also highlighted with that orangish brown. Very nice creasing here in the knee as well as the kneecap right there in the front. You can see the calf muscle as we move down into the foot, the rear foot. And there's a very nice like scoot-like appearance down the foot. Beautifully sculpted foot, very nicely painted nails once again. On this side, very beautiful in every aspect is the sculpt of this figure. And then we move out the length of the tail, and you have some nice larger scales up here, some nice finer scales here on the underside, and you also have those quills that we do often associate with many ceratopsians, especially Protoceratops currently. And you can see that the quills are sculpted out really beautifully, and they're kind of given a nice dry brushing with a brown to sort of elaborate them as well. You can continue to see some more osteoderms and stuff the entire length of the tail, and the tail comes up with a really beautiful curve as well. And then looking at this side, again, the head is almost in a totally neutral position. You can't see it like turning any specific way, maybe a little tiny bit to its left, but you're not really going to see too much difference on this side that we didn't see on the previous side. You can see, though, that the paintwork is top-notch on both sides as far as the Protoceratops goes. You can see the neck a little bit better, I think, over here, just a tiny hair better, and the back of the frill, again, really has some beautiful scale work back there. Very nicely done in that aspect, but once we move back into the body, you can again see some more nice creasing in the skin right there. As we move down into the front leg, some more beautiful darker browns as we reach down into the foot. The nice foot sculpt and nicely painted nails again over here. You can actually see the elbow as well right there. The skin kind of reacting here looks beautiful, kind of stretching off of the body a little bit as this leg's pulling it back just a hair, as well as some more really nice sculpt work in the skin texture department of this side of the dinosaur, the back, the stomach region. Everything looks great as far as that goes. You can also almost kind of see like a little bit of the spinal column of our Protoceratops. Some very nice muscle definition, again, highlighted a bit with that kind of orangish brown on this side as well. Nice calf muscles and creasing in the back of the knee. And then as we move down here, you actually can see a few little osteoderms or like larger scales in the knee right there. But as we move down into the leg, we have this very nice foot sculpt over here. Nicely painted nails yet again. And then we move back up here into the tail. And the tail looks almost like it did on the previous side. Again, it has a little bit of a curve, but not much. Not enough that's really going to make like a drastic or significant difference in the way that the skin would look. Fantastic scales, beautiful osteoderms, and again, those really nice quills that run along the back of the tail there. The underside also looks really beautiful. You do have the cloaca right there, and again, as always, it looks a little bit dirty like you would expect it to look. And then again, beautiful detailing, beautiful skin texture here on the underside of our Protoceratops. You can even see like the throat itself right there. So an absolutely gorgeous looking Protoceratops figure, and definitely one of the best 2020 Collect A figures to come out this year, and that's very impressive considering this line has been very strong. But this is such a beautiful release. I would definitely say it's one of the best. As far as a size goes on our Protoceratops, from the beak to the tail, you were looking at about 9¼ inches, or about 23.5 centimeters. To the top of the tail, you were looking at about 4¼ inches, or around 11 centimeters. And then to the top of that little area of the head, a little bit over 3 inches, about 3¼ inches, or about 8.5 centimeters for a size comparison. There is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and an extremely inappropriate Robert Muldoon riding on our Protoceratops, but hopefully these figures next to this will give you a good idea of what the size is. It is a very sizable figure, especially when you take into consideration that it is a Protoceratops, one of the smallest ceratopsians, and having such a large size is really awesome because it's pretty much something I've been waiting for from some company to release at some point. Would be a beautiful, larger version of a Protoceratops, and this is definitely, again, one of the best Protoceratops in my collection, but also one of the best 2020 releases from Collect A, and hopefully next to these figures you'll have a pretty good idea of what the size of it is. So this Collecta 2020 Deluxe Protoceratops is absolutely beautiful. Again, definitely one of my favorite releases of this year from the company. I think that they have just annihilated us with a ton of incredible releases this year, but this is just absolutely gorgeous. It's something I didn't expect, but I was so excited to find out that they were going to be making a Protoceratops, and from the moment I saw the sculpt of it, I was sold instantly, and now having it here in person, which is the only way to truly tell how much you like a figure, is to actually have it in hand and hold it in hand and look at it up close. I like it even more than I did initially. This is a beautifully sculpted figure. It almost has like a defensive type of a pose, like it's startled by something and it's about to kind of leap into action and defend itself, especially when you have the mouth like gaping wide open. It really has that look, which kind of makes me hope that maybe Collecta for the year of 2021 will release a Velociraptor in the same scale as this Protoceratops, because it could make one really cool diorama. And with the positioning of the body of this Protoceratops, it's already pretty much prepared for that. So I think that's one thing that I'm really going to keep my fingers crossed that Collecta releases for this upcoming year would be a Velociraptor that would go kind of in a diorama with this Protoceratops. But again, the sculpt looks beautiful as far as the detailing goes on the figure as well. Really nicely sculpted, given kind of a darker wash in certain areas to bring that detail out quite beautifully. And I feel like the entire figure is really striking as far as both the sculpt, of course, but the paintwork as well, having like that nice tannish type of a color, but like some variations of orangish browns and everything. And also the nice darker browns that we have kind of spotting all over the figure. And then you have like a yellowish sort of a brown for the beak with a nice orangish brown kind of dry brushed over. And then the same thing kind of up there on the quills on the back of the tail with like a yellowish, almost like a yellowish green type of a color. And then kind of the brown dry brushed over top of that area as well. So this Protoceratops in every way is an absolutely beautiful release from Collecta, and I am extremely, extremely excited now to have this here to add to my collection. Just an unbelievably gorgeous Protoceratops figure. So if you would like to pick this up, I will include a link in the description to everythingdinosaur.com where you can purchase one for yourself today. So make sure you head over there and definitely pick this up. I very much so highly recommend this Protoceratops from Collecta. And make sure you also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.